My name is Amelia Grant, I'm 30, and the text that broke my heart arrived at 9:12 on a rain-washed Tuesday in Canterbury. We're off to Marbella with Lila's family. We've emptied the joint account. Haha. It was from my parents, the people who taught me to say please and thank you, the ones who told me honesty is everything. I stared at the 3 dots in our family thread as if they were a countdown to detonation. My cappuccino went cold on my desk while my head rang like a fire alarm. I typed good luck. Then I set the phone face down and served a client with my usual smile. Inside, my hands shook, not from the money, but from the message, the casual cruelty, the smug little ha-ha, like my years of sacrifice were a party trick, /////. I run a small tech startup that builds ordering systems for independent bakeries and cafes, the kind of unglamorous software that keeps ovens hot and tills honest. I've missed birthdays, bank holidays, and entire summers to make it real. Every extra pound I had went into a joint account supposedly reserved for my parents' mortgage and upkeep on the old family home in Whitstable, the house with the lopsided apple tree and the uneven paving where I skinned my knees when I was 6. It wasn't just money. It was hours of code, train rides to pitch meetings, lukewarm meal deals at 10 p.m., and the stubborn belief that if I kept showing up, my family would one day see me, not as the walking wallet, but as a daughter. I wish I could say I was surprised. But 3 months earlier, I'd felt the current shifting under my feet. ////. It started with a number that wouldn't sit still. I was reconciling the joint account in a spreadsheet, one last check before a new sprint, when I saw a £4,200 payment to a travel agency in Knightsbridge. The mortgage wasn't due for 3 weeks. I hadn't approved anything. A deeper trawl revealed hotel deposits in Marbella, first-class seats out of Heathrow, a luxury car reservation with a personalized plate pickup. My stomach tightened. I cross-checked dates and found a separate, smaller payment that matched a boutique swimwear shop my mum loved to wander through just for ideas. No one had said a word. Not Mum. Not Dad. Not my sister, Lila, who has always glowed in their spotlight like a cathedral window at noon. I opened a private folder and started taking screenshots, every transaction, every timestamp, every discrepancy dressed up as admin fluff. Evidence feels clinical until it's all you have. ///. A cousin accidentally gave me the missing puzzle piece. She'd overheard Mum at a christening, chirping about the big family trip, a proper treat, just us and Lila's lot. I dug up an old muted family group chat, the one I'd buried under notifications from years of "Don't work so hard, darling, but can you transfer another £500 by Friday?" I scrolled. And there it was. Mum to Lila, flights booked. Use the house fund. Amelia won't notice, she's always too busy with her little app. Lila replied with a string of champagne emojis. I saved the screen and sat very still. The quiet wasn't peace. It was a fuse burning. That afternoon I opened a new business account at a different bank and routed all incoming client payments there. Then I called a solicitor I'd met at a Canterbury tech networking night, Ava Reynolds, razor-sharp and allergic to nonsense. If my family are misusing our joint account, I asked, can you protect my assets? Absolutely, she said. Document everything. Don't tip them off. And don't move a finger without a paper trail ///. Over coffee in MY office, I spread the prints like a crime board, bank statements, payment confirmations, the group chat haha, the boutique receipt. Ava's pen ticked across the margins. This is solid. Joint accounts are tricky, but the purpose agreement on yours is crystal, mortgage and upkeep. Not holidays. We'll prep a demand for transparency and an application to freeze the account if they make another move. I nodded, something like oxygen returning to my lungs. The difference between panic and a plan is 4 pieces of paper and someone who knows where to file them. Then the messages started. Mum, you're too busy with your little app to understand real finances. Leave the account to us. I let the words sit in the glass of the screen until they lost their sting. Then I went into the bank portal and reported the card linked to the joint account as compromised. Click. Cancel. A clean cut. By lunchtime, Dad rang, breathless and hot. What did you do? We're at Heathrow. I pictured him pacing by the departure boards, a man who loved appearances now trapped between an audience and a closed wallet. I said nothing. Silence can be a scalpel. / Lila called at 3, all edges. How dare you ruin our trip? As if I'd flown the plane into a thundercloud. You knew it wasn't your money, I said evenly. It was the house money. She scoffed. Family funds are for family. Then why wasn't I invited? I didn't wait for the answer. I'd already emailed the bank requesting a freeze on withdrawals and forwarded Ava the latest screenshots. Mrs. Davis, the branch manager in Canterbury, called back to confirm a temporary hold by evening. The mechanic is boring, but the principle is bright. When people show you their intentions, believe them, then lock the door. That night, my phone lit with Mum's commentary, "You'll never keep up with us." I saved it. You owe us everything. Saved. You've always been jealous of your sister. Saved, then closed my eyes and breathed, //. The story leaked like summer rain through cracks in a roof. A barista heard my half of a phone call and told a friend, who posted in a local Canterbury Whitstable community chat. Suddenly old classmates and neighbors slid into my inbox with messages that felt like handrails. You don't deserve this. Good on you for standing up. I didn't respond to most, not because I wasn't grateful, but because I was busy shipping code, signing 2 new bakeries, and rehearsing a demo for a regional chain. Work didn't just distract me, it reminded me who I am when no one's taking. Lila, meanwhile, posted a balcony boomerang in Marbella, sunglasses, Aperol, captioned "Family first always." I saved it. Then the comments, "Is this the house fund holiday? Bold to brag when your sister paid." Lila typed a wobbly reply about misunderstandings and jealous people. The internet is a mirror with mean lighting, and sometimes it tells the truth //. Ava filed the papers. The court gave us a swift date at the Canterbury County Court, a small wood-paneled room that smells of varnish and old arguments. I wore my one good navy suit and took a folder that felt heavier than it was, partly with paper, partly with every time I'd chosen my family over myself. Mum and Dad sat on the opposite bench. Lila hovered at the back with her husband, Robbie, arms folded, mouth set. I could feel my pulse in my earlobes, but my breath stayed even. This is not about vengeance, I told myself. This is about boundaries with teeth. Ava rose first. Your Honor, our client, Ms. Amelia Grant, presents clear evidence that funds in a purpose-specific joint account, established solely for mortgage and maintenance of 14 Beach Lane, Whitstable, were diverted for a private holiday in Spain without her knowledge or consent. She handed up the agreement, the statements, the chat, the post. The judge read quietly. When he reached the ha-ha, his eyebrows nudged in the smallest frown. It was enough //. Dad stood to bluster. It's a family account. We are the family. As if volume could revise a contract. Mum chimed in with the line I knew by heart. Amelia agreed to contribute. We're not thieves, we're parents. The judge held up the signed purpose agreement. The court will distinguish between contribution and consent, he said, voice dry as chalk. Lila couldn't help herself. She's jealous, she snapped, pointing at me like a schoolgirl filing a complaint. She's always wanted to ruin things. The judge tapped his pen. Ms. Whitmore, please sit. This is not Instagram. Ava didn't raise her voice. She didn't need to. She laid down a timeline, withdrawal dates, flight bookings, the day the boutique bag appeared in a photo with Mum's reflection in the shop window. Yes, we zoomed in. When she finished, you could feel the room tilt. Facts are heavy, they roll downhill /////. The ruling landed like a clean blade. The evidence shows misuse of funds. The joint account is frozen pending a full audit. Mr. and Mrs. Grant will repay £7,000 to Ms. Grant within 24 hours. Further penalties to follow if the audit finds additional irregularities. The gavel's echo was small, not a thunderclap, a pebble dropped in a pond, but the ripples were everywhere. Mum's face grayed to the color of the courthouse walls. Dad looked at the floor as if the grain could offer a solution. Lila hissed at Robbie, who stared at his shoes. Outside, Ava squeezed my shoulder. You did well, she said. Hold steady. This is the start, not the finish. I nodded. I didn't feel triumphant. I felt correct. Sometimes you don't get joy. You get alignment. And that's enough to sleep on ////. The aftermath was quiet, then loud. A week later, I heard Dad's vintage Jaguar had a for sale sign slapped against its proud bonnet. Mum's diamond necklace went to a jeweler for valuation, then never came home. The audit crawled through old statements and found little wormholes of entitlement everywhere. Small borrows to cover Lila's hen-do, a weekend in Bath to reset, a deposit for a kitchen remodel that never happened. They paid the £7,000 on time. Pride tastes better than contempt charges apparently, and the whispers in Whitstable changed shape. Neighbors who once sighed over Mum's canapés now shook their heads and said, shame. Lila's Instagram went quiet. Robbie lost a property deal after someone on the client's board read the court summary. Consequences are slow walkers, but they arrive ////. And while their world shrank, mine widened. The Canterbury Gazette ran a small feature about my company. Local founder turns setback into strength, and new clients emailed with subject lines like bakery chain, urgent and demo please. My revenue jumped 12% in a fortnight, then 18% the month after that. I hired 2 developers, one of them my best friend, Wendy, who'd sat with me in a fluorescent-lit diner during the worst week and pushed a plate of chips at me saying, eat. You're no good to justice if you faint. We moved into a sunlit co-working space in a converted mill. I bought a kettle that actually boils fast and learned that happiness can be a warm mug in a room you pay for yourself. People started stopping me in town. A barista slipped me a free latte with "You've got this" inked on the cup sleeve. A former teacher sent a note, "Proud of you for setting a boundary many never do." I cried, not the ugly kind, just the quiet overflow that says, "You're not alone ////." Patricia, my aunt, Mum's younger sister, phoned, her voice cautious. Ruth told me it was all agreed, she said. I forwarded the screenshot. The long pause on the line felt like a lifetime compressing into a sentence. I didn't know. She posted a brief apology on Facebook. I misjudged my niece. I'm sorry, and the comments warmed the page. It didn't fix anything. But it put a little golden glue in a cracked place. Mum tried once to spin it back. Families forgive. I stared at the message until the screen dimmed. Forgiveness is not the same as access. I blocked their numbers, archived the thread, and put my energy where it can earn interest. //////. 2 years passed like pages turned by a steady hand. We launched version 3.0 of our platform at the Canterbury Conference Centre, Wendy at my side, our team buzzing backstage, the demo running on a screen so crisp I could count the pixels. Clients queued with questions. A journalist asked for a quote about resilience. I said, "I learned that protecting your work is not selfish, it's stewardship. You're no good to your community if you allow yourself to be emptied." The article called me a quiet force, which made me laugh, because my friends would say I'm a loud crier and a terrible whisperer, but I kept the clipping anyway. It felt like a little flag planted on a hill I climbed with my own legs. I hadn't spoken to Mum, Dad, or Lila since the ruling. They moved to a smaller flat in Herne Bay. The apple tree house stayed in the family with the mortgage responsibly managed, on terms written twice and read aloud. Christmas cards went to extended relatives through Patricia. That was enough. Boundaries aren't walls. They're doors with locks and rules. /////. One afternoon, a letter found me, thick paper, Lila's swirling hand. "I didn't mean to hurt you," she wrote. "I miss my sister." I ran my finger along the fold and felt the old ache stir, the itching need to smooth, to rationalize, to make myself smaller so someone else can be comfortable. Then I fed the letter into a shredder and watched it turn into harmless confetti. I'm not unkind. I'm just done funding my own erasure. Later, Wendy and I sketched an AI feature on the whiteboard, predictive bake schedules to cut waste for cafes by 22%, and laughed until our stomachs hurt because our first prototype overordered croissants so badly that the test cafe gave them away to dog walkers. Humans forgave us. Dogs adored us. We called it a win. /////. If you're wondering how I got from ha-ha to here, I wrote myself a simple rule on a post-it and stuck it to my monitor. I do not argue with people who benefit from me being confused. The moment I feel my head fog, I pause, breathe, and look for the paper. Receipts, agreements, calendars, logs. Not because I don't trust my heart, but because paper is patient and courts respect it. I keep a folder called Light, full of kind emails from clients, photos of our team after a release, a note from a 12-year-old who used our cafe app to raise money for the school library. On grey days, I open it and remember, some families you're born into, some you build. Do I wish my parents had chosen differently? Of course. But wishes don't pay rent, and they certainly don't rewrite ledgers. What I can do is choose differently now, for my sanity, my company, my future children if I have them. I can be a chain breaker. I can be the first woman in my line who says, "Love is not measured in pounds, but if you treat me like an ATM, you will discover I know where the off switch is." ////. I still walk past the old house sometimes. The apple tree leans the same way it always has, like it's listening to the sea. I stand at the gate, not to mourn, but to honor the girl who skinned her knees on that path and kept running anyway. I tell her, quietly, "You made it. You did not become hard, you became clear." Then I go back to my life, to code and coffee and late-night laughter in a mill that smells of wood and optimism. If I ever have a daughter, I'll teach her what I learned the slow way. Kindness without boundaries is just a sale with no receipt. And when your own blood texts you haha after stealing your savings, you don't scream. You document. You protect. You move. You win in the daylight. Because I already had a plan. / Thank you for listening to my story. It means the world to share it with you. If it moved you, please give this video a like and hit that subscribe button. It helps me keep telling stories like this one. Stay strong and I'll see you in the next one.